All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming back to another Gimmal education session. We appreciate you being with us today. My name is Marcia Shields and I'm from the customer success team. Our goal for these sessions are to enhance your expertise with your Gimmal software. We are recording this session and it will be shared after the event, so please be on the lookout for that. Dean Meisenheimer is with me today. He's going to be your subject matter expert and he's going to be talking about Gimmal Records. Dean's going to be reviewing how to effectively use legal holds and understand their impact in Gimmal Records. Our format will be the same as the other sessions. We'll do about 15 to 20 minutes of product demonstration, followed for time for your questions. Any questions that you have, please use your Zoom Q&A area and post those, and we'll be sure to get those answered after Dean's demo. Before we start, though, before I hand things off, I'm going to do a quick poll if y'all could participate. Today's question is, how many legal holds do you have active in Gimmal Records at one time? Single choice questions range from 1, 2 to 5, more than 5, and I'm not sure. So if you could all take just a couple seconds and answer that, it's always good knowledge for us. Give us a few seconds. Getting a bunch of answers of I'm not sure, Dean. So got a 1, got a few more than 5s. So it's kind of all over the place, but the majority are I'm not sure. So I'll let that hang out for a little bit while others roll in here if they're a little bit late. Otherwise, Dean, I'll hand things off to you and you can get started.
Okay, thank you, Marcia. Good day, everybody. Let's go ahead and kind of jump in. So yeah, the goal today is just to talk about legal cases and legal holds in Gimmal Records and how you can leverage those, some of the features, how you can get visibility onto how many legal cases you may have active at any time and see kind of what's on hold. So to start with, from a terminology standpoint, the terminology that Gimmal Records uses, and I'm guilty of this. I'll just say legal hold. But there's actually two elements. There's the legal case, which is the container. That's what you create in Gimmal Records. You create a legal case, and that represents the litigation, maybe an audit, but it's basically, the container that the records are then placed into that are put on hold as part of your process. And then there's the hold itself, which is what's applied to the record. And a legal hold in Gimmal Records does a couple of things. The first is it suspends an item's life cycle and keeps it from being disposed of while a record is under legal hold. So if I create a legal hold, I then assign one or more records to that hold. And let's say the records hit their expiration date at the end of November. Well, on December 1st, those records will not appear in my disposition inbox, right? They will stay suspended from disposition as long as they are part of the hold. The second thing that happens when a record is added to a legal hold is the record's effectively put into a declared state. It is locked down in its respective repository, just like if you had declared the record. And that's done so again, while the record is on legal hold, it cannot be deleted by the end user. So if you have records that may not be declared, but then become part of a legal hold, they will be locked down just like if they were declared, as long as the hold is active. When the hold is released, the lock on the records is released. And then lastly, there's hold reports. So there are built-in hold reports that lets you list out all the records that are part of a legal hold. I'll show you those. And there are also the ability to create custom reports in Power BI that let you kind of generate hold reports that look like whatever you might want. So let's jump into the demo at this point. And yeah, as I go through this, feel free to put questions into the chat panel, and we'll address them either as we go or at the end of the session. So I'm in Gimmal Records now. You see the familiar 3 blue pie charts across the screen. And To get to where legal cases are managed, I'm actually going to go to the Manage area within Gimmal Records. So I'm going to click on Manage, and that's going to open up the Manage screen, bring up the Manage navigation, and you see here on the left, Legal Cases. So we'll drill into that in a moment. The first thing I want to point out is in the Manage screen, here you see all of my records that are in Gimmal Records. I could page through here and look at different records. But let's jump back to the beginning here. I see I have some of your records in SharePoint, SharePoint Online, Box. If I've dug down a little further, I have some file share records out there. So, an opportunity to kind of see everything that's out there. And you'll notice some of my records, they're in a declared state. The little lock symbol indicates that. So that means these are records that have been declared and locked down according to their retention life cycle. I have a lot of other records that are not declared, but you notice the little gavel symbol here. That indicates that a record is part of a legal case. It's on legal hold. So anytime a record in Gimmal Records is on legal hold, two things will indicate that. The first is in the Manage screen, I will see the little gavel that will immediately, visually tell me that. And the second is if I click the details at the top, it's going to tell me that the record is on legal hold. So I have the little bar up here at the top. And then on the right, it's going to tell me what legal holds the record is part of. And this record happens to be part of 3 different legal holds. So, on the right here, it will tell you specifically what legal holds any record is on. So if you ever see a record, you see the gavel, you can come over here and go, oh, I wonder what hold that's part of. This personal information disclosure legal hold. So that's one way to see, what's on a legal hold. What if I want to add a record to a hold? Let's go to another screen where I don't have everything already on hold. And here are some records you see that are not on hold, they're not declared. What if I wanted to add this record to legal hold? Well, it's easy enough. I could just come in here. I can click on the pull-down menu for that record and select legal hold. When I do that, it brings up a pull-down menu that shows all of the current records or all of the current legal cases that are available. So if I wanted to add this record to my FOIA request, I just select FOIA request, I hit confirm, and now you see the gavel appear. You'll see the detail screen reflect the legal hold. And in the background, what will happen is the Gimmal Records Lifecycle Processing Service will recognize this record is on hold and send a request out to the connector, in this case, SharePoint Online, to lock that record while it's on legal hold. Right? So that all becomes a very seamless process by you simply selecting that from the menu. Okay? So really easy to add individual records to a legal hold. If you haven't looked at this yet, there's also the record overview page. So the ellipsis takes me to the little details panel. Record overview takes me to a more detailed screen, shows me all of the information about the record. And you'll notice here, legal holds, there's a legal hold option. And when I go there, it shows me the hold we're already on and allows me to add the record to additional holds. Okay. So let's go back here to manage. And let's go in and take a look at legal cases now. So I want to create a new legal case, or maybe I want to edit an existing legal case. So here are all the cases that I currently have. The title of the case number, whether or not the case is open or closed, and we'll talk more about that in a moment, and the rules. So let's create a new case. Let's create case Supreme Court case. We'll just use that again, but we'll change the number to 3456. How about that? This is all just descriptive information. Court put in Supreme Court again. And now case number 3456-2024. How about that? So this is all descriptive, right? The title is what's going to show up here in the list and in the pull down menus. What's important here is the open date. When does this hold become effective, and when can I begin to add records to the hold? Well, I'm going to make it just as of yesterday. I'm going to leave the close date empty for now, because the close date, at some point, I'll come along and I'll close this legal hold. And when I do, all of the records currently on hold will be released. So let's save our new hold, 3456, and let's come in and edit our old legal hold here for the Supreme Court and close it. So we're going to come in and we're going to choose today's date as the close date and save that. And so you see now the status changes from opened yes to showing it's not open anymore. What will happen is any records on that legal hold will now be released from the hold automatically by Gimmal Records. Okay. So now we have a new hold. We can begin to assign records to that hold if we want to. The other nice thing about the legal cases here is once we have our holds are active, records are getting added. Every hold has an audit trail. So every legal case, excuse me, I told you I mixed the terminology. I'm bad about that. Every case has an audit trail. So I can see when it was created and when any changes were made to that legal case, right? So that audit trail is kept in Gimmal Records, and you always have access to that if you want to be able to see kind of what was going on. And a quick way to see what records are attached to a legal hold is simply to come in here and let's use my FOIA request here. Click on the pull down, and you see here at the bottom legal holds. That now lists each record that's part of this hold. It shows me when it was added to the hold, where the record is located, and if I click the I button, the little info button, it takes me to the record overview screen, so I can now see all of the information about that specific record. So you can always come in here and see what's on a hold very quickly and very easily. And if I want to individually release a record from a hold, as a records manager, I can click the remove icon, and that document will now be removed from the legal hold. Okay, and again, so Gimmal Records would go out, release the lock on the record. If the record had hit its expiration date, it would now be eligible for disposition. So that's kind of the managing legal cases, creating a legal case, adding the information about it, viewing the records that are on the hold, being able to kind of work with those legal cases. Now, what if we don't want to add records one at a time? Because, that's not real efficient. What if we want to kind of add records in bulk? Well, the good news is you can create legal hold rules just like classification rules on record classes. So again, I click on my pull down, I go to legal hold rules, excuse me, and now we can create rules. You can use your rule sets if you have any rule sets created. We're not going to go deep into rules today, but I would urge you to go back to the education session or the tech tip on classification rules and file plan, because the rules are exactly the same, the way we create them. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create a classification rule. So I want to create a rule that says, hey, if it's in the SharePoint site collection called my hold site, maybe it's human resources, maybe it's legal, I'm going to do this so it doesn't pick up any records in my environment. And I'm going to hit the join, and I'm going to hit and. So if it's in this site and the record happens to be in a folder called, or actually, yeah, in a folder called Acme Corporation. Well, any records in that folder in this site are going to get picked up and added to this legal hold automatically. So this is an example of where I'm saying in a specific SharePoint site collection, in a specific folder in that site collection. What if I wanted everything in a library? So maybe there was a claim against us and we wanted right, only a specific library. We could do that, right? So you can use different options. You can use ands and ors. Maybe I need to do a really broad hold, right? Maybe I don't care about the site that it's in. Maybe I just need to go out and pick up every document across my SharePoint environment or across all of my records. So I'm just going to look at file names and I'm going to use a like, which lets me use wildcards. And I'm going to grab any record that has Acme Corp in the file name. So that would look in any of my repositories being managed by Gimmal Records, any of my records in any site collection, any file share, anywhere, any record in Gimmal Records where the file name matches something, Acme Corp, something, it would get added to this legal hold. So you can create these rules that are very broad, or very, very specific. You can combine rules. So I could have that rule, and then I could do an or now create a second rule here if I need to. So maybe it's not just Acme that's trying to get us. I also want anything with Gimmal in the title, right? Now I've got two separate rules that will collect and add records to this legal hold. So, and when you have rules assigned to a legal case, you'll see them here on the screen. It'll just say yes, that there are rules. Okay, so that's a way of automating that process, and it will pick up any record currently indexed in Gimmal Records and any new records that get picked up going forward. Okay, so we've got holds. We've been assigning records to holds. Things are getting put on hold. How do we know what's on hold? Well, there's two ways. First, if I go into Monitor and I go into the Standard Reports screen, there is a legal hold, holds for legal case report that Gimmal provides out of the box. All right. So let's go in and take a look. When I open that report, you notice here on the right, it shows all of the legal holds that exist. So I'm going to choose my FOIA request and hit Preview. This generates the report for me, goes out and queries the Gimmal Records database, and here's my legal holds for legal case report. It shows each record, shows the record class, when the hold was created, and where that record is at. And you notice that link is hot. I can click it and go to that record if I need to. If I want to save this report, see the little cloud icon in here? I just click it. And now I could save this report as an Acrobat file. I could save this report as an Excel file. I could share it with, with whoever needs to see it, right? So this is one way of being able to report on what's on a specific legal hold, right? This is just this is part of every Gimmal Records instance, whether you're on premise or in the cloud. The second way is, for our SaaS customers, we have the ODBC interface. You can create custom hold reports. So I'm going to go back into Microsoft 365, and I'm now in Power BI. And here you see I've created a Power BI report that actually is hitting the Gimmal Records database through the ODBC interface. And it's allowing me to query and create a custom report for all of my legal holds, right? I haven't updated the data set recently, so it doesn't have my new Supreme Court holds. But here you see I've got my 4 holds. Because it's Power BI, the reports are interactive. maybe I want to narrow this down and just see my FOIA request. If I click that pie, that part of the pie, it narrows the report down and immediately filters it for me. So I can see what items are there, right? If I click the pie again, it takes me back to the full. Because again, it's Power BI. I could quickly go, all right, let me just view my PII report, and now let me sort by record title inversely, right? Or by location. So there are different ways you can manipulate these reports, which is really nice. One of the other things that I really like them is you can come in, and add additional filters if you need to. So I could come in here and select and say, let me filter this by legal case title, or let me filter by, I want to narrow it down to only certain words in the title of the records that are on hold. So you have all of the capabilities of Power BI available to you. And again, because it's in Power BI now, maybe I want to share this report with somebody through Teams. So I can quickly just click the Teams icon and come in here and say, all right, I'm going to share this once Teams loads up here. Share this with Marcia. Hey, Marcia, take a look at this list of items that are currently, currently on. Or maybe I want to do it with, with a specific person. We'll do it with Rebecca here. Rebecca, check this out. Here's the report. Or you can actually embed your report in other SharePoint sites or other portals, right? So maybe for your legal group, you create a web page, or you create a share on their SharePoint site, an embedded report that always shows them everything that's currently on legal hold. So there's different ways you can share this information to non-Gimmal Records users as well, which is really nice. So that kind of takes us to the end of the demonstration. I want to make sure and answer any questions that we may have around using legal holds or creating legal cases. So we've got 6-7 minutes left. So let's open it up for questions.
Yeah, Dean, we did get a few. One got answered because you ended up covering it on the bulk. So, but here's a question for you that Lewis presented early on. Does removing a legal hold reset the retention plan for that document, or does it resume the retention schedule from before the legal hold?
It will resume. So if you think about the retention life cycle, that's being triggered by a trigger, right? Whether that's date or a rule-based trigger. Putting the record on hold doesn't change that. So it just suspends the disposition action while the record's on hold. And then as soon as the hold is released, the life cycle picks right back up again. So as long as you haven't changed triggers or changed anything, it picks right back up where it was.
Right. Another question we have is, do records on hold show up in my disposition inbox?
They do not. So once they're on hold, so if something's on hold and it hits its expiration date, you will not see it in your disposition inbox. Yeah.
Here's another one for you. What happens if the record is already expired and in my inbox and a hold is applied?
Good question. So same process actually. So if the record's already in your disposition inbox, if I were to go over here to dispose, and someone came along and put cert 03057 on legal hold, even though this record is expired, I haven't approved it yet. Once it was put on hold, it would actually disappear from my inbox while it was on legal hold. So I would not see it. Once the hold is released, it would come back into my inbox again.
Last question, and unless anybody else posts, but one more is there a limit on the number of holds you can create?
No, there's no limit on the number of legal holds.
Okay. All right. Dean, if you could put up the last slide on the yeah, there we go. Awesome. Great. Well, thank you, everybody. That is today's session. We appreciate you all joining today. Hopefully you found this useful. Again, it's recorded and we'll be sending out the recording to you shortly. It is also, all these sessions are posted on Gimmal's YouTube site. So if you missed a past session, please feel free to look there for all those recorded sessions. As a reminder, these are offered twice a month. This is the remaining schedule for 2024. So we have a couple more left. We're coming up on the holidays. Q1 2025 schedule is set and that will be sent out soon. So be on the lookout for that in your email. I will get that out to you. As always, if you have questions on the topic that we discussed today, or you have suggestions for future education sessions, please do let me know. You can email me or Dean, and we'll be happy to help you there. But that is all for today. Thank you, everybody. Have a great holiday. Have a great Thanksgiving next week if you're in the US.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.